last summer we had a fire in the neighborhood. We had high winds that day. It started out 35 mile an hour winds. It took off about 4 canyons over, and the wind carried it down through here. They said the wind was blowing about 100 miles an hour when it got into this canyon. We lost 66 homes in the fire, the neighbors' homes and stuff. We lost our outbuildings and shop. We saved the house. So I was home at the time when I seen the smoke, and we put a sprinkler on the roof and started cutting a fire break with the excavator. So our house and the neighbors straight up survived, and all the homes around us burned down. And these houses were already on fire while we were still here. The fire turned, the winds changed, and so the fire started coming towards us. And so we jumped in vehicles and threw the animals in the vehicles and drove off. And as we heading down the driveway, the fire was coming up the driveway. We had dry conditions with the wind, and perfect conditions for a big fire. Pretty devastating for lots of folks, and we're all in the rebuild, so you can see around all the houses going up, the ones that are rebuilding, and lost all the trees and stuff, and so people are just starting over and building their homes. We built this building after we had a fire and our old shop burned down, and so we wanted to make it a passive solar structure. So it's day lit in the day, and we're using the sun's energy to heat and cool the buildings. And part of the building will be growing our food production. Baby, I don't want to. We super insulated this building, the floors and the walls, and then we have thermal mass. These are ICF blocks, insulated concrete form, so the concrete inside adds to the thermal mass. And so our plan is that we have a building that we don't have to condition, natural light that we can work in without using very little energy except to run power tools. We have a thermal block outside and super insulated, and then we can use that thermal mass to store energy for the winter to modulate the temperatures inside the building. Use an icing foam where we foam the top of the lid on the building. Icing is a type of breathable foam that's a new green product out on the market that uses soy base or peanut shell for the material, and then it's water based, so it's sprayed on. It's a breathable foam that has a good insulating factor, and we don't puff gas into the building. Overhead, we have slight eaves over the glass to block all summer sun from penetrating the building to help keep the building cool. And then winter the sun angles drop and we have direct sunlight in the buildings in the winter to heat up the building.
So I'm really excited about the greenhouse that's being added on to the workshop. This is sort of a Wallapini style, which is a subterranean greenhouse. So the Wallapini uses the insulating features of the earth to help maintain the temperature that's gained by the passive solar, and this will be all window all the way down to gain the passive solar. And so I'm really excited about all the things we'll be able to grow in here.
Yeah, we put in the galvanized sheet metal ceilings, and it gives us another 30% light into the building, also reflecting heat back down, so we're not losing heat out the ceiling as fast.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Pocatello from age 3 to 18. After high school I moved to Salt Lake City and spent the last 8 years living in Salt Lake and traveling abroad. So yeah, I grew up here in Pocatello, Idaho. Grew up skiing Pebble Creek, my favorite ski area to this day. I started Panda Poles at the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon back in 2010, and we've been down there for the last couple years. But we just moved the shop up to Pocatello at the end of December 2012. So why move back? It's a good question with a good answer. Probably the most important thing to me was really getting my newborn son out of the smog in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City has some of the worst smog on the planet during the winter. At some points this winter it was actually worse than the smog in Beijing, which is normally the world's worst smog. It's been great, you know. I'm moved back in with my parents. You know, it's kind of one of those funny things, but it's actually one of the biggest blessings I could have ever had at this point in my life. Having extra hands around to help with my son Moses is amazing. Having my stepdad and my mom right there to give a hand whenever we need it, and to really help give Moses the best upbringing that he could possibly dream of. So that really is the most important thing to me. However, with the fire this last summer and the rebuilding of my stepdad's new shop, the opportunity arose to set up the Panda Poles shop in a space that is much more conducive to building. You know, it's not such a cramped space. There's actually room to move around. Yeah, just the general amenities of the shop are far superior to anything we were ever in before. I started this business with my college education money and a couple small loans. And we don't have a whole lot of money. We're not some big corporation that can just throw money around. So it's always something where I'm trying to figure out ways to reduce our load, reduce our consumption, reduce our overhead. And by moving in with my folks, it definitely achieved that. Not having to pay rent is amazing. Not having to worry about driving to work is amazing. Not having to worry about a babysitter is amazing. Not being in the smog is amazing. So it just really all added up, and it's so wonderful being here, this beautiful clean air, privacy, and lots of good people. Pocatello really has an amazing community, and really appreciate this place for what it is. So it's been a really nice experience coming home and reconnecting with the land and with my friends, with the people. And I'm really eager to keep connecting. It's been a blessing, it really has. And I'm really honored to be able to share this company with the people of Pocatello, because in a big way, Panda Poles came from Pocatello and will always be a part of Pocatello. So thank you, Pocatello. Thank you, Pebble Creek. Thank you, Barry Ski and Sports. Thank you, Portneuf Valley Brewing. Thanks to my folks. And thanks to everybody who shows us support everywhere. We feel it. I feel it.